Good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. Welcome to another edition of Occam's Razor. As always, I'm your host, RP, and joining me live in the studio, my co-host, M3. Not quite sure if this is working correctly because YouTube is playing games today. We've got lots of interesting bits of news to go over. Developments in the world. Do me a favor. Give me a 17 in the chat if you can hear me and everything sounds good. All right, guys. Sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a very brief word from our sponsor. This right now is usually the time of year we see campers out in full force. Nearly all travel plans had to be canceled. The good news is, though, that lockdowns are starting to lift. People are restarting their camping and travel plans, and if you intend on going outdoors this summer, I want to tell you about a device you're not going to regret having on you. A revolutionary device for campers called the solar water heater. The solar water heater is a portable tube that looks like a normal water bottle, and no electricity required because the solar panels on the side of the water heater ensure that all you need is sunlight to stay charged. As an added bonus exclusive for my listeners, they are giving away the next 100 solar water heaters for 15% off. Once the first 100 are sold, they will go back to the regular price. So as an added bonus, you'll get insured express shipping if you go to solarwaterheater.com or go to the link in the description or pinned comment. Don't wait for a crisis to happen to wish you had a solar water heater. And remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel. All right, guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. It has been one heck of a morning. Methods, are you there, buddy?
Yeah, man, I'm here. Mic check 1 2. Hope everybody can hear me. Hope the chat's doing well. It's been a minute. I haven't talked to you guys since Sunday, so I'm really excited to be here, man.
Yeah, definitely. Had to take the day off on Tuesday. Appreciate everybody understanding. It doesn't matter whenever we announce it. I always get emails from people asking if, like, are we okay? Did something happen? And yeah, so just always, this is why I say, make sure you follow me on Twitter, because I will always put the notification out on Twitter. And I also try to do, no, we're not starting early today. There was some issues with YouTube. I'll go over that in a moment. But if we're going to be taking a day off or otherwise changing the schedule, then I'll always let you know on Twitter. And I'll also make a community post. So you guys might not even know where the community tab is, but it's someplace in YouTube. It's not like a very used feature all that much. But so this is what happened. I went to create my stream this morning, and instead of doing what it normally does, it asks me if I want to use the settings from the last stream or if I just want to start from scratch. It automatically defaulted to some stream settings that included no ability to schedule the stream. So all I could do was go live. I couldn't set it up and let you guys know that it was going to be at a later time. It really threw me off my game. So I had to figure out how to make it so that I could schedule it. And basically, the only way to do it is to go through YouTube's legacy streaming system, which I don't know how much longer it's going to be there. But it is a real problem not to be able to stream. Okay, so you guys, I need to also, before we do anything else, I have to specifically make an announcement about yesterday's video. In talking about the Beirut bombing, I showed a tweet from Mil-Spec Ops Monkey, and I said, apparently, Bibi Netanyahu has announced that Israel takes credit for it. I also said, I have no other verification of this, and in the editing, I accidentally edited out the part which said I had no other verification for it. It was a complete accident. I did not mean to tell everyone conclusively that Israel had taken credit for it, because they've officially not taken credit for it. So whatever happened, I put a notification on the video itself. I put hashtags at the top that said correction needed, check pinned comment. I don't know how many people saw it. I put it in the pinned comment. I put a timestamp to where I screwed up, and I even put a notification out on Twitter. So I want to let everybody know, I'm taking responsibility for my mistake, because I work really hard to try to be as accurate as possible. And sometimes in the course of putting out daily news and having limited time to edit, I don't always get to listen to the video after I create it. So it happens. Just wanted to make sure everybody was aware. There was quite a few people in the comments yesterday who were making sure to tell me that I was wrong, but I guess they didn't see the retraction that I put on the video itself. So, all right. So yeah, Spud said, saw my YouTube community post noting it. Thank you very much. Definitely, guys. I appreciate your understanding. This is the world we live in. This is the time of live breaking news, and I'm working hard every day to put out as much information as I possibly can. And it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So back to YouTube being a piece. It's completely thrown me off the stool, basically, to not be able to schedule the stream and get everything out in the way that I do. I'm a very particular person. I'm sure Methods and Real Red Pill Girlfriend can tell you this. I need things to be a certain way, and if they're not that certain way, it's difficult for me to handle it. I don't know how else to put it. I'm a little spectrum-y. I need it to be the way that I need it to be, because otherwise it just completely makes it difficult for me. But we are here. We're on the way. We're hopefully going to have something from YouTube to fix this issue. But one of the things about YouTube is there's no way to reach out to anybody. They don't have just like a customer service, front-facing customer service where you can say, hey, I have an issue with your service. It's not working properly, or what happened here. You just kind of got to go along to get along. So it is what it is. Now, I have a couple of announcements I have to thank people, okay? Because last week on Thursday, after Occam's Razor, I got some stuff in the mail, and then also yesterday I got some stuff in the mail, and I have a list of people. First of all, Michael Hill, I believe that was his name. I don't have it in front of me, but Michael sent us a 200-year-old straight razor in the same style that we use on the card for Occam's Razor. It is awesome. I collect antiques, little baubles like this, and it says Wade and Butcher, Sheffield, England. It is pretty amazing. Medium size, hollow ground, it says. But I could probably sharpen this up and use this to shave. That's the kind of person I am. I would definitely do that. I thought that was really awesome, and I wanted to say thank you. Also, yesterday in the mail, I got to say thank you to Brian. Thank you to the Anonymous Patriot in Oregon. Sandy with an I. Ron and Francie. Thank you very much, Ron and Francie. Red Pill 78. Always make it out to Red Pill 78. The Healthy American at thehealthyamerican.org had this idea. Wanted us to start a letter writing campaign to businesses and suggest that they have specific hours set aside for people who can't wear masks or people who don't want to wear masks, and thinks that it would be a good thing. Also, David Cadell. David, look at this. He made this book, okay? It's called The Choice to Know Will Be Yours. It is signed, and it comes with a magnifying glass. Basically, this is an aggregated book of posts, news stories, headlines, and things about the president, okay? So I'm actually going to be giving this copy away, and I need everybody, once this video is done, to leave a comment on the video. Once the stream is over and it's posted, you leave a comment, and then I'm going to pick somebody at random from the comments, and then make sure that in the comment you include your email address so that I can go ahead and get in touch with you to send you this book. So pretty cool. Thank you, David. I appreciate that. And then last but not least, Patriot Lady Biker Dan, I don't know if you're out there listening. Honey, I knew that stuff was going on. I didn't know that that there was that much going on, but I hope you're okay, and I hope that you are watching. Love you so much. Thank you very much for that. Also, Jersey Patriot. Thank you, Jersey Patriot. Sharon in West Virginia. And it was Michael Hill. Yes, Michael Hill. And then also we had Carl, not a robot. Carl, not a robot. Oh, methods. I got one other really cool thing, and I forgot. It's in my bedroom, okay? I got to go get it. I'll be right back.
Alrighty. Well, yeah, as far as what Red Pill was talking about when it comes to getting information wrong when it does, like he does his video reports, or anybody in general, there's so much like disinfo going around that I'm seeing, at least on Twitter. It's not really intentional by a lot of people. They see things, it looks like it's correct, it's a screen cap with no links, stuff like that, and it ends up getting spread around, and it is what it is. So people like Red Pill and many of the other channels that you follow, or your favorite accounts on whatever social media, it's going to happen. We're going to have these situations, and people like Red Pill and I are going to always come back and say something about it. So I appreciate everybody for understanding when those things happen. And what is that, dude?
This is a resin wall piece, okay? And it's an American flag, and it has my logo in there, RP78. It's made by Patriot Painter. Patriot Painter should be in the chat. Look at that. It's felt on the back. It's gorgeous. I got it hanging on my wall above my TV in my bedroom, and it's beautiful. Okay? If you've ever... Oops. It's slippery. It's heavy and it's slippery. If you've ever seen on YouTube, they show people like making pieces of art using like resin and paints and stuff, so that it's so cool. I just this is awesome. I've now gotten 2 pieces of original art that that viewers have sent me, and they are both beautiful. It is so incredible. I just want to let you know, Patriot Painter, how much I appreciate that. Super cool, super cool. But Patriot Painter, if you're in the audience, make sure that you say hi. So there it is. There he is, Patriot Painter. Good stuff. So also, Melissa from Freedom Force Battalion, she sent me an annotated copy of her book with like notes, and she went through and highlighted. She did like, personalized stuff on there, so I can take a look and reference things in a different way. She's going to be on the show. We're in the middle of scheduling that right now. I know a lot of people had asked me to get Melissa on the show. Also, I received some tea. This is a special blend Essiac tea herbs, and this is from Essiac Northwest. They sent that to me. Sent me a couple of business cards as well, and that would be Michelle, the owner. Thank you very much, Michelle. I appreciate that. And then also, that's a postcard from David Cadell. And then from, let's see, who was this? This was Linda. Linda, yes, Linda, if I'm not mistaken, this is what you sent. This is a box of little handmade angels, okay? And there's a card in there that says, "In it together, angels are with us every minute of the day. Together, God and humanity wins." And then on the other side, it's an American flag. Blue is for their courage, white is for their honor, red is for the blood they shed. I have a whole bunch of these, and I was thinking that we should give these away too, because they're super cool. So everybody, again, make sure that you put your information in a comment on this video after the stream is over, and then I will go ahead and choose winners from the comments down there. So everybody, make sure that you do that. Also, my buddy J.R. Majewski met with Potus today. He just sent me a video of the motorcade driving by, and if I'm not mistaken, they're going to pull into his driveway. Hold on, let's see. Oh, do they pull in, JR, or do they just drive on by? Yeah, they just, I don't know if he actually got to meet Potus. He was supposed to be in Potus's motorcade. So I'll have to talk to JR after this, but very, very, very cool. Okay, well, Selective Outrage, if you would never put your email address on YouTube, then I have to have a method to contact you. So if you don't want to join the contest, you don't have to. And I just want to let everybody know, if you're not comfortable putting your email address in there, then say that in your comment, and then you have to figure out some way for me to contact you. You'll have to be listening, and I'll have to announce your name, and then you'll have to send me an email and prove to me that you're the person in the comments. So however you want to do it, guys, we'll figure it out, and we'll get all the winners taken care of.
All right, and I guess just one other final announcement before we get to the news stuff is that this Comfy Sunday, we're going to be starting an hour earlier, so that'll put it at 6 p.m. Eastern, because the Mark Levin announced that on his show, which is 8 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, he will be interviewing Attorney General Bill Barr. We don't want to compete with that. We don't want to keep you guys from watching it. We personally want to watch it, so we'll have all the links and stuff out for that. I believe we're having on another whistleblower from Facebook on Sunday. I don't know his name off the top of my head.
Zak McElroy.
There you go. One of the many Zaks that are whistleblowers. But yeah, so we'll be starting an hour earlier that day, and just make sure you catch Mark Levin, because I'm sure it's going to be very interesting. He'll ask the right questions and let AG Barr talk. So I'm excited about that.
Yep. Cynthia says we need to extend the time of your show for all the wonderful gifts. I don't know if you're saying that like you're salty that I had to go over the gifts, but we have limited time. Unfortunately, I got to make announcements at some point, and today the show is still going to end at 3 o'clock because I still have another video to make. So appreciate everybody's patience. Thank you for being here. So yesterday we had quite the hubbub on Twitter. Besides the usual list of fallen patriots, we also had an incident where Twitter refused to unlock the account of the president, and also locked the account of President Trump's official campaign. Okay, Cynthia, no, I love the gifts. Okay, good. So there's one Twitter official who we can look at to blame for locking the Trump campaign account, for suspending it. And guess what? They are the former press secretary of none other than Kamala Harris, potentially the future vice presidential nominee of the Democrat Party. Now, they banned his account from tweeting until they deleted a tweet about CV-19. President Trump was at a press conference, and I believe he was also on a couple of shows, and he mentioned the, the immunity of children in regards to this sickness, okay? He said that children are essentially not going to get it. I don't want to get too specific on it because we don't want to get this video locked. But he said that the likelihood of a child dying as a result of contracting it is very unlikely. And because he said that, not only Twitter, but also Facebook went after him for stating misinformation about CV-19. Really, really ridiculous. Especially if you are smart enough to look at any of the data on it, look at the information about it, and then you can take a look at the publicly available statistics in regards to the number of children who contract or pass away as a result of that sickness. So let me see. We're going to go ahead and show this right here, this article. So Twitter has banned President Trump from tweeting until he deletes a tweet about CV-19 that they say violates the rules against misinformation. So they hid the post and said he will not be able to tweet from his account until he deletes it. So it's actually the president's account, apparently, and then also the account of his official campaign. Now, here's the guy right here. Nick Pacilio, and he says the original tweet from Team Trump is in violation of Twitter rules on CV-19 misinformation, and we've required removal. But he retweets the president, showing that it actually is President Trump's account. Thomas from True Reporting, if you're here, thanks for being here, buddy. Thank you to all of the mods for keeping the chat comfy. You know, actually, just real quick, I realized Thomas said that he had issues scheduling his stream, and Methods last night, they cut Craig Mason off too. His stream got cut in the middle. Craig, I don't know if you're here, man. I was wondering what happened, but I didn't want to text you in the midst of all that, because I know that once everybody starts texting you because your stream goes down, it gets a little overwhelming.
Right. Well, I mean, we all knew that this time, especially during this election year and stuff, that we weren't going to have an easy ride. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if they're willing to go after Trump's campaign on Twitter, I mean, how is that not election interference?
Yeah.
Because Trump is campaigning on certain topics, and since we have this Kung Flu thing going on, we need to know what these candidates have to say about it. I know everybody pretty much here listening is going to vote for Trump anyways, but the idea is they need to let them speak on different things, because we get to see, they lets the public know, who they could side with based on opinions, because things are very important.
Right.
So the fact that they're doing that and getting even more brazen with it, to me, it lets me know that we're getting to a certain point where there's going to be an outright, like throwdown with social media. And I think what they're doing is they're kind of doing these little things under the guise of, well, these are our rules, and they're breaking it. So then when action happens against them, they could say, oh, this is retaliation, and play the victim card. The victim card is the biggest card that the Democrats or anybody on the left love to play. It's what happens when we watch these riots happen, and they go out there and they jump in front of cars and bang on and yell horrible things and throw stuff at them. But as soon as a car happens to drive and hit one of their people, they're all victims now.
Yes.
So so we're going to be getting that on every single thing. It is as ridiculous, as sinister, and as stupid as it all looks. But that's the world that we're going to be living in for the next few months, and alone the next second term of Trump, But we're going to be dealing with this for a long time, just because that's all they know how to do, is to cheat.
Yep, that's it. Now, I did not say hi specifically to Real Red Pill Girlfriend. Honey, I didn't see it in the chat yet until I saw you get upset with me for not saying hello. I love you so much. I'm glad you're here. My mom, any mods, Leslie, Jojo K, Wheezy, I love you. Love you guys. Okay.
You just totally avoided the doghouse, huh?
Yeah, well, hopefully. So it looks like President Trump has deleted the tweet, because he's been tweeting at least within the last hour. It's a sad time when these tech giants are able to cheat in the way that they've been able to. But here's the thing. I mean, it's a big deal, them specifically going after the president of the United States and deciding what's okay to talk about, what's not okay to talk about. This is a really big deal in my mind. And I think that, they're already on the chopping block. They're already looking at reforms in terms of these social media companies. They're already, hopefully, that's right. Hopefully I avoided the doghouse. They're already looking at Section 230. There is, quite a bit that might go down. That honestly, it needs to go down. We need major change, okay? The fact that we have to live in fear on a daily basis, never knowing what's going to happen, never knowing if our accounts are still going to be there, and on that note, we lost some real patriots yesterday. We lost Sun Q Zoo. We lost the return of Tommy G. Tommy G is incidentally going to be on the program on Friday night, so we're going to be talking about his multiple suspensions in the last couple weeks. Who else do we lose? We also lost Tony times 2. Tony times 2. So right there, no longer there. Tony times 2 is gone. Tommy G is gone. Press F in the chat for the fallen patriots. Sun Q Zoo, they don't even show you that his account has been suspended. He's just no longer there. Yes, Les Max 2. Apparently, censorship is legal now, and right now they're getting around it because they're private platforms, they're private businesses. They're not they're not regulated by the terms of free speech. It's whatever in their terms and conditions. Yes, F in the chat. And it's a real awful thing, because no one knows if they're going to be able to say what they want to say or what's safe. We are constantly living in a state of heightened adrenaline. I'm like in fight or flight mode all the time. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, is today the day? Is today the day? I'm on the stream, things stop working. I'm like, is today the day? Is today the day? It already happened once when they demonetized me. That was traumatic. Imagine if they take everything else away. It's going to be horrible. So I want to please suggest that everybody, if you haven't done so yet, subscribe to my backup channels. I'm going to try to start streaming on one of those backup channels just so that I can, begin to start building that channel up. But Table of Titans Hulkinator is here. Table of Titans Hulkinator, what's up? Yeah, heightened anxiety. Heightened anxiety is it, Thomas. 100%.
Well, we also need to announce, he wasn't taken down, but the Punisher. I know a lot of people in the chat probably know who that is.
Yeah.
He had as I understand it, and shout out to Victoria Gates for making me aware of it. He had a forced update. Basically, it just updated Twitter on his phone, and then they wanted to verify by sending, whatever confirmation code to the phone number that he set up Twitter with. But he did that 6 years ago, in my understanding, with a burner account phone. So he has no idea, nor can he have it sent to him. So he essentially is, blocked out by, whatever. So just be careful. I don't like using any app really as far as mobile goes. But I suggest making sure you could still get on things through a computer, because if that's something that's going to happen and be a trend where you just get ghosted because you can't verify something because maybe you have a different number. I can't remember a phone number I used 4 years ago because I changed mine just about every year.
Yeah.
So just letting everybody know who's concerned about him. But this is going to happen more. We're going to have these things go down. To me, I'm just like you. Every day I'm like, when I get onto Twitter, I'm like, all right, well, they're still letting me do all this stupid stuff I do on Twitter. Let's see what happens.
Yep.
And I might push the envelope here or there just to see what happens. But we all adapt. If I get taken down on Twitter and they permaban, take down my M3 madness, I have a backup account no one knows about that's been out there in the ether for a while under a different name, just so I can use it, because I know if I have it set up long enough, and I suggest that for anybody, set up another account, just don't use it, leave it out there, because after a while it doesn't look like it's been, it's a brand new one, right? Maybe tweet out just a few things here or there, tweet about your cat, whatever, just get that stuff out there, because that's why I think I get away with a lot, because I made this account that I'm using on Twitter in like 2013, and it's under the guise of it being a music account. So I get away with it more. But if they were to take me down and do all that, I'll do other things like Parler, but I'll do a lot more things on YouTube on my own channel. And just real quick, we're gonna do, for the people that aren't aware, we're going to do the makeup show that we were going to do for Methods to Madness yesterday on my channel. We're going to do that tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern on my channel live. Scott finally got his power back, so shout out to him. No food was lost in the making of that storm. So happy for him on that. But yeah, we'll be doing that tomorrow just to make up for it. I didn't want to let a week go by without doing something. So yeah, and thank you, Red Pill, for letting me take a moment to tell about that.
No problem. I need to say thank you to Natural Lady 17 ×2 yesterday and then also today. So thank you very much, Natural Lady 17. Christopher says, keep up the great work. Thank you, Christopher. Dana Finkler says he had such an amazing time with Gaffer Anon, such a patriot. Gaffer Anon is a great guy. Glad you guys had a good time. Also, my buddy Andrew. Andrew, what's up, brother? Thank you very much for that. Appreciate you guys. Just going to check PayPal real quick, see if anything popped up on there. And nope, nothing on PayPal. So thank you very much, everybody. Oh, wait, yeah. Dana, thank you very much, Dana. Also to Robert, appreciate you, Robert. Valerie, Timothy, and Leela. Thank you very much, all of you. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, Red Pill Girlfriend, yeah, we typically like to read the donations at the end. I guess Red Pill was just going after that now, knocking it out.
Yeah.
She's putting us on blast for that. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the chat keeping us honest.
I guess it's just, since we don't have like regular super chats anymore, like they're so few and far between, so I just wanted to get it out of the way so we didn't have to worry about it. So the next thing, but you're right, we should wait until the end. Andrew Weissman, Mueller's pit bull, the guy who is famous for withholding exculpatory evidence from defendants in federal cases. He is actively recruiting whistleblowers from the Justice Department to testify for Adam Schiff and Nadler about perceived weaponization of Durham's investigation, which covers Mueller and Weissman, by AG Barr for political purposes ahead of the election. You know what that smells like to me? Panic.
Right.
Andrew Weissman has his head on the chopping block. He knows that everything illegal that he's done, all of the bad behavior as a federal prosecutor, is now going to be examined. And there's nothing he can do about it. So the only thing he can try to do is to create another Charmander, you know what I'm talking about, and bring a whistleblower forward and then use it through Schiff and Nadler and their joke committees in Congress, and then they will attempt to remove Attorney General Bill Barr. That is their big plan right now. Get rid of Bill Barr, have the new Attorney General step in and stop the Durham investigation, even though President Trump said the other day he's seen it. So if he's seen the results, that sounds to me like it's done, and they're just waiting to release the information. But there is, here, we actually have a tweet from Andrew Weissman. As Rachel Maddow said tonight, the New York Times piece below notes DOJ personnel have a duty and a variety of means to resist any effort by Barr to make impermissible political actions prior to the election. So there he is, suggesting that people rat, basically, on the DOJ. So a clear message to any Obama holdovers left over in the Department of Justice, anyone loyal to Andrew Weissman, perhaps anybody who owes Andrew Weissman, anybody that he's controlling. They're going to be coming forward, coming out of the woodwork. I would expect to see at least a couple of people raising their hands and offering to testify before Nadler and Schiff.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing this the entire time, and they paint Trump as the bad guy, the villain, the dictator, and then all their actions look justified. You could see how planned that is. And I mean, even I know that we're going to talk about it here in a little bit about the Sally Yates hearing. The whole conversation is we were just doing our job. You know, I don't agree with this president, and I'm just doing my thing. And then now any actions taken by Durham, Barr, or anything under the Trump administration in general is now an attack. It's a political attack for them doing what they're supposed to do, and they want to look like patriots. And that, to me, it makes what we've been doing for the last few years, and then our favorite Anon, getting people on the same page initially across the entire world, is because we see so through it that it's nauseating to watch at certain points. You know, I like being able to understand what they're trying to do. That's why I have no problem sitting through watching hearings. But that's what's going to be happening here. When Durham does any actions whatsoever, I'd love to have a report just so I can frame it at this point. But to me, it's going to be, you know, press conference announcements, indictment type stuff. And then he will probably be called to Congress, probably in the Senate, because I know the House doesn't want him to talk at all, probably in the Senate, and then he will be able to explain himself. I think that he will report things, not necessarily a full-blown like Mueller report. But we're going to have a situation to where anything that Durham does is going to be countered by all the deep staters. But what that's going to do is shine a light on the ones that we don't know about. And that's going to be interesting. So keep tabs, screen cap people, you know, and make sure you're watching them, because these people are trying to dismantle justice. And that's what we've all wanted. That's what we can all be unified under, is we want justice. So keep an eye on all of them.
Absolutely. You know, also, he's probably a little nervous because there was this public announcement suggesting that there's been a deal made between Durham and Brennan to be interviewed. Now, I'm a little suspect of this announcement because this has been coming up like every couple of months. Like, oh, Durham's going to investigate Brennan, or Durham's going to interview Brennan. So, I mean, from what I remember from methods, I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but supposedly this happened a couple of months ago. So either it's happened already and it's going to happen again because they want some clarification, or this is some type of a head fake just to put the information out there and maybe scare the rats, turn on the lights and watch them scurry out from under the bed. Or maybe perhaps this is, something for us. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I think that we're going to have a lot of interesting things happen in general. I mean, it's so upside down right now, man. I'm just watching each day to day with everything that happens. It kind of just adds another layer to what 2020 is. I'm ready for 2021 already.
Yeah.
I mean, really November 3rd, November 4th at this point, just because we can get, once the election's behind us, that's an entirely new chapter. Whether it's, it's contested, whether they're still counting votes. I'm sure that there's plans to handle all this stuff. But this is a whole new life, and this isn't going to change. If anything, we need to rename a new generation that's been born over the last few years just for what's going on, because it's not going to be the same it ever was before. We've gone too far on the tipping point. So, to me, it's just a day at a time.
So Johnny Nonstop in the chat said that Durham doesn't need to interview Brennan. He can just charge him. Well, here's the thing, though. Even if they have what they think is enough to charge these people, by interviewing them and, maybe trying to see what they lie about, might give them different avenues of investigation to look into. So, I think personally that by having Brennan get interviewed, maybe seeing, what he's worried about, how he reacts to certain things, I think it might, potentially help the investigation. And there is probably mountains of evidence that Brennan is hiding. And if they, let's say, we know that these guys, Durham and Barr, went to Italy. Okay, we know they went to Italy. We know they met with people. We know that there's been investigations in Australia. We know there's been investigations in the UK, probably some other places as well. So what if they take that information that they have, and then they go and they ask Brennan specifically about it, and they see what he denies. They see what his story is, and then they know exactly how to talk to him and to charge him in court. I think that it will make their cases that much stronger if they can prove that he's trying to hide things about other stuff, so.
Right. Well, I look at this announcement of Durham's going to interview what's his face, Brennan, as first off, it came from the mainstream media. So what's the intent behind it? It paints the picture that Brennan is willing to be talked to. I'm trying to cooperate. That's the whole thing that's been going on here, is that we'll cooperate, and he's probably going to say the same things that Sally Yates said. We were just doing our job, blah, blah. So I'm not surprised by this announcement, but I'm going to go ahead and put out my 2 cents. I believe he's already been interviewed at least once.
Yeah.
Just because he would be one of the main people that Durham would have wanted to talk to. And I saw somebody in the chat say that these people should have been taken down a year ago. Not saying that we had the foreknowledge that, and we as in, our military, that we were going to be going through this Kung Flu. But imagine how we need to have history remember justice coming back on all these people. And now, as it gets passed by generations in the future, how many of them will talk more about the Kung Flu than the rest? Right? I mean, so getting through this season, it makes a lot of sense to me. Let's get past it. Let's get it resolved. Give the left their stupid vaccines. That's fine. And we'll move on and move forward and have a season of justice occur, because we need to have that in history, and we need to have it documented, archived, and then spoken in generations, to come.
And don't forget that we're in the midst of trying to fix a fatally broken system. If our side went and used the current system in the current form and went about things outside of the boundaries of the method of justice that is supposed to be in place, then the other side would use that against us. And we cannot afford to have these cases thrown out in court. It has to be rock solid. Believe me, I'm well aware that there are many people who are road weary, who just want to go home. They want this to be over. They think that things should have already taken place. And I can't say enough, the wheels of justice turn excruciatingly slow when they are turning in the correct way. We've been so conditioned to watching things just get pumped and dumped, churned right through. Cases, just being shoved down the judicial system's throat and pushed out the other side. People going to prison. People getting basically, crucified in a legal manner. And now that it's the other side's turn to finally get some justice, having to watch it done the correct way it's maddening for a lot of people. But I mean, we can't make it go any other way, you know? I mean, we have to allow it to happen this way. I am confident that it's gonna be finished, it's gonna be taken through, and we're gonna get total resolution on this stuff. But unfortunately, it's gonna be a slow process, and it's been going this entire time. It hasn't stopped. You know, these investigations have continued. We're getting more and more information. Take as an example the hearing with Sally Yates yesterday. Sally Yates came in and said some really interesting things. You know, I mean, what methods we were talking yesterday. You know, she completely threw Comey under the bus. You know, I used that clip that you got where she said that Comey went rogue. You know, Comey was the head of the FBI, so now they're going to lay at his feet all of the blame for the behavior of the FBI. Lindsey Graham asked if Comey went rogue. I was a little disgusted at the way that he was kissing Sally Yates' feet. I don't know about you, but, you know, I mean, he gave her a pass. You know, I mean, he said, oh, I know you didn't know. And later on with Hannity, he said, you know, well, I can't prove that she knew, so I'm not going to say that. But he didn't need to say, oh, I believe you. You know, I mean, what did you think about that?
It did kind of seem like he was going to ask her after dinner afterwards.
Right.
But as far as what Sally Yates was doing, you know, I agree with you. We've talked about this for a while. A lot of people, we can't take credit for being the original, but a lot of people have said that they will probably make Comey the scapegoat. Comey, your McCabe's, your Strux, and your Pages. Like, have them go down. Make it the FBI's problem. Because we know that particular knocking on the door of the clowns and going down the Brennan route, and then what Flynn, and now think about Flynn being targeted into silence for now, like going down that road and opening the door into the clowns and what they've been doing and how they've been funding themselves, what they have been doing with funding, and all the operations would literally take down nations, or at least, at the very least, cause wars that are even more, you know, they would go hot and be just bigger things. So it would make sense to make Comey the fall guy on that. And so Sally Yates doing that's not surprising. But also we're having this thing, and I think why they're wanting to do these publicly, whether it's Graham actually deciding to do this or he's being told to do this. I still think he's such a beta. He's being told what to do by the White House. Like, they need to show that everybody's willing to point the blame at everybody else and not take responsibility. Because how do you counteract that? You show actual force, and you do responsibility of your job. You have a Durham, you have a Barr, you know, you have these actions taken against these people, because if they're not willing to take responsibility and step up to the plate, then let's show the white hats doing it correctly. So we're having that go. And as far as the whole, like you were mentioning about the wheels of justice turning slow, I've been thinking about this further, and I don't mean to segue back, but we've been so conditioned for like instant gratification. You know, social media. Now we can click on any show instead of waiting a week. I had a bunch of people saying, "Oh, I can't wait for another week for your second show on Methods to Madness." Well, remember back in the day, we used to watch TV shows and we'd have to wait a week, right? Like you watch your 30-minute, your hour show, then you wait a week, and it may built up the excitement stuff, but you did other things. Yeah. Instead of binge watching an entire season, if not 4 or 5 that are on Netflix or whatever. I think that a part of this is helping train a new, you know, I'll just say generation, like this time period of people, however old you are, young you are, into not having instant gratification. I'm not saying that's why they're doing it, but I believe that they would have weighed this and considered it a pro to teach us. Because now imagine having any other thing go on in your life that you need to have patience for. And if you remind yourself, well, I waited 3 years for justice for these people when we knew they were guilty from the beginning, then a few months waiting on certain things, whether it's a job promotion or whatever the case is, like it's not going to feel as bad. Getting through a college, if they're an appropriate college, spending that time, it feels worth it. So I think we've got to, you know, break that cycle of instant gratification in general, you know, because we are dealing with that. I see it happen on Twitter, and I'm not even saying on our side. It's just like the hey, can you see me? I'm not getting any likes or retweets. And I get the idea of being shadow banned and you're being concerned, but what part of you, when you're asking that, is because you get that, you know, that dopamine hit because it is happening, you know, and that's just subconscious. I'm not blaming anybody saying that they're self-centered, but we're in that world now. So having these things go slowly over time, we're not going to forget any of this stuff. We're going to help explain it in the future, because this is just a blip on the radar of the timeline of life.
Yeah. And to that point, I mean, it's the same thing when people get upset that they don't get a reply immediately, or they think that because somebody hasn't seen their information, or because they haven't seen their tweet, they haven't seen their message, they must be being ignored. Why don't you respond? Why won't you respond? And, there's so much information out there. People have to pick their battles. Some people don't check their DMs. Some people can't check all of their DMs. Some people can't even look at all their notifications. They got to choose what they pay attention to. And with the information age that we live in, it has really done a disservice to humanity, giving us this feeling that everything is now, there is no future, there is no past, it's just whatever you see in front of you at this very moment. And I would just suggest that everybody relax, realize that you don't have to have resolution on everything at this very moment. Sometimes it's better to allow it to happen, in a normal time frame. Let it happen in the way that it's supposed to happen. You can sit back, you can relax, you can do other things, you can go outside. I walk my dogs like 4 or 5 times a day, try to get out of the house. Like I've already said, I turned off all of my notifications on my phone. I go in at specific times and I work, because otherwise, working on the computer, social media, it's possible to do this 24 hours a day, and it's difficult not to. Back when I used to design websites, I had to do the same thing. I had to set hours for myself. I had to say, I'm going to do this at this time, and I'm not going to allow myself to work afterwards, because otherwise I could just work on a website all day. I would be like, I have to finish it now. I did that before. I've done it many times. And I'm guilty myself of wanting that instant gratification and, getting that dopamine rush when you see something. Wow, my video went viral. Wow, I'm getting more views than I normally would. Wow, look at all the people retweeting and liking my tweet. That means that I'm valid. I have meaning. My life has meaning because people are seeing me. It doesn't have to be like that, though.
Right. I really wish, that they didn't have the like system at all on Twitter in general, just because of that. Because it happens to all of us. I remember my first tweet that did take off, to this day. And the reason being is because how it made me feel, right? You associate time periods with emotions or feelings at that point.
Digital meth. Look at that. I love that.
Right. Yeah.
Digital meth.
Yeah. K Ray, I'll just say K in the chat, said, only thing that gets me more road weary than waiting for, quote, arrest are the patriots who cry, whine, and complain about no arrest yet. Forest for the trees. And, I'll agree with you to a point on that. I don't try to call it, it kind of is to me, can be whining and complaining, but I can appreciate the desire. And you might be alone. You don't have anybody to talk to next to you. So you're just getting out that emotion because you're so frustrated, because it is that frustrating. But I will agree with Kay on this. Like, I find myself increasingly more excited for arrests, not for the justice, but more so we can have a new timeline that isn't, things aren't happening or the arrest stuff, because we have been going through it for a while. But with that said, I can appreciate the passion behind being frustrated, because that means you give a damn, right? You care, and that's important. If you're not a shill out there just saying it just to cause problems, because I see those too. I can appreciate the passion in this and all that, because it's not, we're driven by hatred towards the evil, unlike the left, that they're driven just by their hatred. Right. And that's the big difference of patriotism and what we're dealing with fighting now. So, if anything, I remind myself of that, and that keeps me from not going, scorched earth on Twitter when I get enough comments like that.
Also, Tim Woods, prayers for Chewbacca, buddy, his dog. I'm sorry to hear that, man. So yeah, basically people are just too high strung nowadays. I am. I know I am. I drink probably too much caffeine,
You should have seen Red Pill. You should have seen Red Pill before the show.
Yeah.
Full disclosure.
Yeah. It's not pretty, but I have I've created a world for myself so that I can feel safe, and so that I can I guess cope. It's my coping mechanism. I need things to be the way that they should be. And unfortunately, I can't control everything. I try to let go of as much as I can, but at my heart and soul, I am definitely a control freak. I need things to be a certain way. So, I have to do other things to mitigate that. And to help myself, I have to step away from the keyboard. Definitely. It's a necessary thing. Now, somebody said something earlier, sit on your butt and eat popcorn and listen to Q. I'm not telling anybody to just sit back and be complacent. I mean, Methods, how often do we get on here and tell people that they can have a part to play in this, that they can take action and do things? I mean, make noise, okay? Right. Don't just sit back and expect. I mean, General Flynn wrote that op-ed. He said it's beyond the time to just sit back and pray and hope that things are going to be okay. I mean, that's an important part of it. But we need to make our voices heard, and we need to be able to amplify this message and help the president. I mean, I started this show because I wanted to support the agenda of the president and wanted to help put America first and bring our country back to greatness. So you can you can take part, you can take action, but there's also a part of it that you have to remember so that you keep your sanity at the same time. Don't expect things to happen just because you want them to happen, and don't get angry when what you expect should happen doesn't happen in the timeline that you want it. You have to allow yourself to let go, okay? As much as I want to control everything, I can't. And I would go crazy if I just tried to control everything and I was unable to and I refused to let it go. You have to allow yourself to just, to let it go at a certain point. Do what you can, be as proactive as you possibly can, but don't let yourself go crazy.
I totally agree with you on that. And I mean, that's like, we don't call for people or organize protest ourselves. Yeah. We have what we discern as what Methods needs to do and what Red Pill 78 needs to do. But to say the children protest, fantastic. Full support behind it. Do your thing. To me, you kind of find your place. And once you understand what's going on, and I personally just say this and not to, be rude to anybody that's not religious in the chat, but, lean on God, pray about it. If there's something you can be led in a direction on what you feel led to do, and then follow through with it. Take your time and get there. I mean, me and Red Pill both started at certain places, and we're still got a long ways to go to be where we want to be. Yep. As far as helping make change and all that. Now, with that said, just real quick, we got 4,200 people here hanging out with us. We really do appreciate you guys spending this afternoon with us. It's been great. I missed this for sure. And I see 1.7 thousand likes. If you guys don't mind turning that thumb blue, that would be fantastic. And thank you guys for hitting us up on PayPal, Cash App, all that good stuff.
Wheezy Girl says, are they using our faith to turn us against? I figured out, you guys, why this does this, why Zoom shuts down. I have to install Zoom for IT professionals, and I completely forgot to do it. I'm going to have to do it after the show today. Wheezy makes an excellent point. There have been some people recently who have publicly denounced our favorite Anon, saying that that they were personally worshiping Q and Potus, okay? People can do whatever they want, but if you find yourself worshiping this movement, not putting God first, hey, that's on you, and you got to, take a look at yourself and figure that out. No one is telling you to worship real Donald Trump, okay? I would never say that. No one is telling you to put these posts and this movement ahead of your faith and your soul, all right? If you find yourself doing that, take a step back. But that doesn't mean that you need to denounce the movement as a whole. All I'm saying is that have your priorities straight, all right? I was talking actually with TikTok about it yesterday. You guys can watch my video that I did with TikTok. I'm going to put the link here in the YouTube chat. Watch that after we're done here, and you can see what I have to say about it. There is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, okay? You have to have certain needs met in order to feel safe and secure. You also need to have certain needs met in your life. And I think that, you have to prioritize your life in terms of this movement, in terms of your politics, in terms of your time on social media, in terms of your God, your president, all of these things. Me personally, I put my soul first. I put my integrity first, all right? And then other things come after that. But you're not going to catch me, looking at our favorite Anon or looking at Potus and thinking that, it's more than just a movement to save our country. It's not a cult, exactly. So people who find themselves in that position, people who come out publicly and say that, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry that that's been your experience, but it's not on anybody else. All right. So this, for me, right there, Sean Anon said it. This movement has strengthened my faith and given me a relationship with God for a change. So for that, I am grateful. I have the exact same experience, okay? The fact President Trump was elected, the fact that this movement sprung up, okay, these posts on these boards, it gave me the opportunity to go back to having my relationship with God. I changed my life as a result of President Trump being elected. Now, I did all of that through my faith with God. All right, I didn't do it because of President Trump. President Trump and this movement, it was an impetus. All right. But I had to look within myself and say, what is it that I want to change? And I asked God for help and I did it. All right. But I know the order in which those things arose and how that stuff happens. All things through God, and everything else comes after. And that's how I feel about it. So Ursula 1111 keeps saying, have you heard about the MAGA drag the interstate on 9-5? I'm heading up the Atlanta route. Could you please help me get the word out? And it's just disseminating details on Twitter. I know nothing about it.
I don't know either, but Ursula's a great friend on Twitter and stuff. So I imagine there's something to it. So Ursula, if there's anything going on, DM me about it. And just real quick on what Sean Anon was saying, I'm actually interested about this in the chat about this movement, this situation that's happened in the last few years, strengthening faith and giving a relationship with God. If you guys don't mind in the chat, give me a 1 if you can agree with that statement. If you've either gotten, developed a relationship with God maybe for the first time or in a long time, but also, if it's just made you feel even closer in your faith, give me a 2 if it's not, and that's fine. That's, this is your life to live, and that kind of coattails into what Red Pill was talking about. I don't care if people come out, and say, you know what, I don't trust, Q anymore. I'm skeptical of the president. Yeah, we're not everybody's keeper, and I don't want to believe that we're into cancel culture. Now, I have seen that happen a little bit.
It's
to anybody that's done that stuff. It is, but then again, it is society. Like, we have to balance this. People allowed to have, free choice. So you have the free choice to cancel somebody over it, but in turn, I try to respect the main part of the situation, and that's the free choice of the person. It doesn't mean I'm not going to love them as a person any less or whatever. They didn't attack me. Q isn't my God. Trump isn't my God, but I support both essentially, and if Q were to ever do things I don't like, I'll say it here on air and not care. That's fine with me. But I also, the reason why, like, nobody said, that's why I don't always cover, the post on Twitter. I used to, but there's other things that I want to focus on and do, and everybody's going to read the post. So that's fine. Nobody gave me flack about it. I think they understood that I'm working on other things. So to me, would I make the announcement if I did feel that way, that these people are with saying they aren't following the post anymore? Probably not. Doesn't really help the situation. But more power to them. It's their platform to do with what they want. Now, if people then turn and start campaigning for Biden, then we're gonna have a different discussion. But for now, this is where we are, and I don't want to cancel people over making personal decisions.
Yes, 100%. There won't be any canceling on this channel, and I will never do it, even in private. And I'm not talking about anyone in particular. There have been multiple people recently who decided that they no longer trusted the president and they no longer trusted this movement. Like Method said, that is their personal choice. I want everybody here to know exactly how I feel. I am in this to win this, okay? I support the president here on earth, okay? I have my faith in God above, and I have my own personal beliefs in this movement and in the good and the evil of humanity. I have a mission that I am trying to accomplish here on this earth. I have another when I leave here, and they are all different things, but once again, all things through God. We wouldn't have this movement if it wasn't for God. We wouldn't have this life if it wasn't for God. We wouldn't have this earth. We wouldn't have President Trump. We wouldn't have the opportunity to save our country. You know, we're going through some real trials and tribulations right now, and for many people, it's gotten harder and harder and harder. And I don't fault anybody for having a crisis of faith or a crisis of confidence, but I mean, that is on them. And I'm no longer going to, I will never comment on anybody leaving or anybody doing their own thing. I just want everybody to know exactly how I feel. If there is anybody out there who no longer feels the same way about this stuff, I just want them to know that I still love them. And I will never attack them for changing their mind. You know, we live in a world where I want people to have that freedom to choose and the freedom to make up their own mind. And if they need to go a different way, then, you know, good for them. They can do whatever they need to do. And this is us, man. We are here together watching this, and I hope that you guys are on the same page as me. I've seen some things in the chat which are funny, but, you know, I'm just going to leave it at that, I guess. I'm going to leave it at that. And if anybody tells you they know indisputably who our favorite Anon is, they don't know. I will say that.
Right. Hey, but, you know, like we said, it wasn't going to get any easier, and information is going to get spread around. But yeah, let's get to a few other topics that we wanted to hit. Thank you guys for the patience. Sometimes we just like to vent and chat a little bit. Yeah. You know, we appreciate you guys being cool with it, even though a few in the chat are like, all right, get to the news already. Shut up. You know, hey, you know, it's cool. But what do you want to move on to next? Do we want to talk about what happened with the NRA?
Well, I wanted to talk about Flynn because it's just okay. a quick update. So the DC Court of Appeals, and we were trying to figure this out live on the air the other day, but the DC Court of Appeals is, yes, Patricia, exactly. It's not a single individual. It's a team of individuals. And, you know, who knows the nature of that even. But the DC Court of Appeals is where Flynn's case has been moved to. So they are going to be deciding on any future stuff. Now, they are requesting that all parties, which would be Judge Sullivan, who's now become like the prosecutor in the case, and then Sidney Powell and the defense team for General Flynn. Number one, they have to argue whether or not Judge Sullivan should disqualify himself for perceived impartiality. I think the answer to that is yes. Clearly, he is not impartial. He is partial, even though the DOJ has stated that they don't want to press charges any longer on General Flynn. They want to drop all the charges and just say, go home, everybody. Sorry about the millions of dollars you had to spend wasting on your defense. Or number two, if Sullivan should disqualify himself as a party to the proceeding. I think the answer to that one is obviously yes as well. He is not impartial, therefore he must disqualify himself, and he should no longer have anything to do with this case. Now, if he disqualifies himself, if the Court of Appeals forces him to disqualify himself, and now because the Court of Appeals is overseeing this, I think that this will be the end of the Flynn case, and it's all going to go away. What's been happening is literally unprecedented. This has never happened in the history of our judicial system, and everything that is happening right now, like people in the legal world, they are basically freaking out. They can't believe what they're seeing. So it's not going to happen again. Another judge is not going to come in and then say, oh, well, you know, I don't care what the DOJ says. I still want to prosecute Flynn, and I'm going to be now the prosecutor in the same way that Sullivan was. People are looking at this case. The judges on the appellate court are looking at this case, and they're saying, Sullivan, what are you doing? What do they have on you? I see White Hat's in the chat. What's up, White Hat? Love you, brother. But yeah, I mean, they're freaking out.
Yeah, you're on point. But to me, what's the motivation behind that? Just so they can say they got another person on Trump's team for a talking point for the election? Yeah, that can help. Yeah. But why Flynn? Why did they go that far? Why do we not hear about Roger Stone anymore?
Well, you know, because Roger Stone got pardoned, so that one's over. You know, they can't go after him now. They still have Flynn in their crosshairs. But, you know, looking at back to the Yates testimony from yesterday, Sally Yates admitting that the reason they went after General Flynn was because of a difference in policy. They didn't like the idea that Flynn, and this is just the reason that she went after him at that point, notwithstanding any past conversations they might have had regarding Flynn's knowledge or Flynn's plans with the intel community. But right then, knowing that Flynn and the incoming administration had a policy difference with the outgoing administration, and that Flynn was speaking with the Russian ambassador, doing his job as the incoming national security advisor, and they decided to go after him as a result of that. Now, she kind of left it up in the air in terms of, the investigation. She said, it was a difference of policy. I went to the White House. Now, she didn't specify that when she suggested to the incoming administration that she had concerns about Flynn. She just said she had concerns about him. But she didn't want the new policy to be conciliatory towards Russia. She wanted to make sure that the Obama policy stayed in place, even though every single incoming administration might have different policy procedures and thoughts from the outgoing administration. It's nothing new. But what was new is that they used the full power of the United States government to go after this incoming administration and try to unseat them. So this right here is going to be on August 11th. So we've got a couple of days still before we see anything on this. Now, somebody else had posted another tweet from Technofog. It looks like perhaps, is there additional? No, this is the same one. Okay. So, we're just going to have to wait and see. Again, this is another waiting game, I think that when they argue this before the appellate court, it's going to be pretty obvious, and that should be the last we hear about it. That's what I believe. This is going to be the last we hear about it. Is Tron here as well? Tron, what's up, brother?
Yeah, and I also think then we've seen it speculated in many places that Durham and what he's doing crosses streams with all this. It's literally about the same stuff. How did this get started? So Durham actions, and then once again, it makes me wonder if Trump's already commenting on something that he said he was going to not be a part of at all. If he's been shown things, then those same things can be very well used in cases like here with Flynn. To me, should he be pardoned entirely? Yes, just because. But as far as this, it should be completely exonerated.
That's the thing.
He should be allowed to just, for history as far as like legalese goes. I was targeted. This was all wrong. This is a failure of prosecution. This was a targeted attack, and he's innocent. Not innocent because the president said he already did his time or whatever.
Yeah. If President Trump pardons him, there is an indication that there is some level of guilt. He doesn't need to be pardoned. He needs to be fully exonerated. And I believe that he needs to be able to go after the Department of Justice to get this money refunded to him. He never should have had to defend himself in this way. Real quick, Navy Vet says UNM3 should have Tori Says on to interview. I've spoken with Tori in the past about that, but we'll go ahead and follow up. And then and that's it. Thank you very much for that, Navy Vet. Appreciate it. General Flynn doesn't need a pardon. He needs an exoneration. He has done nothing wrong. He never did anything wrong. This was just an absolute travesty of justice for them to go after him in a criminal manner for having a difference of policy with the outgoing administration. And they need to be able to show that. They need to be able to show that there's criminal culpability for the outgoing administration and them using the power of the United States government to try to destroy this man. So, no pardon. Let's see. Oh, yes. We Navy Vet, we are going to talk about that next, actually. Methods. Ivan Penchikov. Fox News invoking the Hague Convention to request testimony by Julian Assange in the case brought by the family of Seth Rich. What a day. This is great news right here.
Right, that just kind of popped up out of nowhere. I had to double check and make sure it wasn't clickbait, but I like Ivan. I think he has a good account. Follows things correctly. To me, having Assange talk is the key to all of that.
Oh, yeah.
What happened to, not just even what happened. Now, Seth Rich, very important, rest in peace. But having what went on with the DNC, Assange is key in all this stuff. And I've seen a lot of the speculations. We've asked, I believe, the chat here before, is Assange black hat, white hat, gray hat, just selfish and doing his own thing. I've seen it all. But having him speak the truth of what happened with verifiable evidence as such blows up so much of the narrative that I know it's been a long time and people might even forget. Sometimes I even forget how big of a deal of the narrative
of getting to the Russia collusion thing was with the DNC quote unquote hack. That's so important, and Durham's already involved in that. If they're already appointing people to look into the unmaskings that were done under the Obama administration previous to 2015, which has been announced recently, with Bash going after that. I can't remember his first name, but he's investigating that. How much do they already have and they know? And it's just playing the cards correctly. I've seen a lot of people say that as far as we have to go about this the right way, because we see any move. I mean, just the idea of Durham being talked about over the last few days, and we've got Weissman coming out and calling for the DOJ to basically commit treason.
Yes, panicking.
I mean, that's how far this is, and that's how dark. So as far as this goes, I'd be very interested to see if this is agreed to. Quite surprising that Fox News would get away with that. You know, them being the ones to get Assange to talk. But then again, I mean, if they report it or actually get over there and get to interview him and have a spoken statement, that'd be pretty cool. But I'm glad to see him at least in headlines.
Yeah, definitely. Real quick, this is sad. War is a Racket says, I have prayed, I have asked for forgiveness, I have asked for signs. God or Jesus does not speak to me or give me warm, fuzzy feelings. You? Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. God doesn't always directly answer you when you pray. God will answer in your life in indirect ways, and you have to be ready to recognize those signs and symbols when they happen. And perhaps you're focusing on the wrong things. Perhaps there are other things in your life that are clouding your judgment, that are clouding your vision. Now, I would say that, this is something for you to, address with God, praying on a daily basis, perhaps in a house of worship, wherever you go. But maybe you're asking for the wrong things. I mean, just because you say, God, I want you to act in my life right now in this way, doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen. But yes, prayer, meditation, listen, and, maybe look at what is going on in your life. Maybe there are things that need to change or that need to be addressed, or maybe you're asking for the wrong things. I don't know. But yes, God does communicate with me, and God is active in my life on a daily basis. I have a daily reprieve from drugs and alcohol because I asked God for help. And as soon as I did that, it was almost instantaneous. Okay? Prior to that, my life was a struggle. I've talked about this on the air before. My life was a struggle. Now, it doesn't mean that today I don't still have to overcome obstacles or that my problems are non-existent. It's just that I have a different perspective now. And I am absolutely blessed to have that in my life, because it's not something that everybody is able to achieve. But, yes, God is active in my life, and I feel his presence on a daily basis.
I totally agree with you on that. And I mean, I've gone through those, you call it a valley, to where I didn't feel like God was really hearing me. It was hitting a wall type stuff. But I mean, those things come and go. I mean, I can't explain it. I'm not God. Yeah. So, but I just say, keep trying, keep doing what you do, keep praying, reach out to people, pray with other people. Plenty of people in this movement will pray with you. But yeah, I mean, you'll definitely find your way, and just don't lose faith, even when you don't even know why you're doing things like that, because it doesn't feel like it's working.
Eli Strawman says, God is not a genie. 100%. All right, I want to show you guys what Fox News wants to ask Julian Assange, because this is mind-blowing. Number one, what was Mr. Assange's role, if any, in the establishment of WikiLeaks? Well, we already know that one. Number two, what was Mr. Assange's role in connection with the activities of WikiLeaks in 2016? In 2016 and 2017, what role, if any, did Mr. Assange have regarding the content of WikiLeaks and Twitter's posting? It goes on and on and on. And then it asks about Seth Rich specifically. Why did WikiLeaks provide a reward for information related to the murder of Seth Rich? Describe any role that Seth Rich had in obtaining those materials and providing them to WikiLeaks. It is quite literally a roadmap to establish Seth Rich and WikiLeaks roll together in getting and then disseminating those DNC emails. This is great. You know, there's a couple of pages of questions. I'm going to go over them in more detail on the 6 p.m. show. But this is great, guys. This is really, really good news if they're able to get testimony from Julian Assange.
Yeah, we need it, and I think it'll happen at some point. I mean, we got to have him talk for sure.
Desert Fairy Chick is asking for Beirut. We talked about Beirut at the beginning. If you did not see the beginning of the show, or you didn't notice the notification or the notice that I put on the video from yesterday, I accidentally removed a portion of my video segment which said I could not find any further confirmation about that announcement that Mil-Spec Ops Monkey put out, which was apparently, supposedly, from Netanyahu. Israel has specifically denied taking part in the Beirut bombing, so it was an editing mistake, but I put notices everywhere. So you guys, if you haven't, go look at the video if you didn't see the first part of this video. So yes, this is also next. The Team Trump, or the Trump War Room, put out this video of Joe Biden. Joe Biden had a tough day yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw the video, but there was an African-American newscaster from CBS, and he asked Joe Biden if he had taken cognitive tests. And Joe Biden was clearly offended by that. And the answer that he gave, he said it would be like someone asking you, hey, you're coming out here to do the news. Have you done any cocaine? We're going to give you a cocaine test. That's a strange answer. That's a strange answer. Yeah, I mean, because, you know, if you're running for president and you appear to be having some cognitive disability, yeah, it makes sense to ask you if you've taken a cognitive test to prove your, roadworthiness. But asking that guy if he was on cocaine, I mean, that would mean that Joe Biden was assuming that perhaps this guy did cocaine. And I'm wondering if he's assuming because of the race of the presenter, and then asking if he's a junkie. Because again, today, now, and I say that because Joe Biden seems to have some preconceived notions about the African-American population of America. Remember when he was on Charlemagne the God and he asked it, or he stated that if you have trouble deciding if you want to vote for me or Trump, then you're not black. So insinuating if you vote for President Trump, you can't be a true black American. Well, he also made this comment where he said that that all black people are basically the same, which, I think it just, again, highlights his prejudice. So let's go ahead and play this. Okay, so insinuating that the African-American community is basically the same. There is no diversity among them. Now, this is bad. This is real bad for Joe Biden. Every time he opens up his mouth, he's got a soundbite that the Trump campaign can go ahead and use. Did you see Methods, the new Trump Twitter video that the campaign did, which shows Biden like like he's like right. This, like he's standing alone in a basement with his head on his forehead. He had like a microphone in his hand and they photoshopped it out. I thought it was brilliant. Okay, but the entire mainstream media, covers it like, oh, it's a manipulated picture. It's a manipulated picture. Somebody said they didn't hear. Did not hear. No sound. Hold on. Well, that is definitely interesting. Why is it not sending sound through? That is... Let me see. Loopback desktop audio. Huh, that's crazy, guys. I don't know why that is not working.
Well, I assume that Biden brought up cocaine because he's really worried about Hunter. And it's just on his mind.
That's very well could be. Okay. All right, so that's there. I don't know. I'm at a loss. That really should have that should have come through. I'm gonna go ahead and test this one more time. Well, now it's just echoing. Well, nothing I can do, guys. Sorry, I won't be able to play that for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link into the chat there. There you go. Biden is a bigot. Yep. That's right. I mean, everything that Joe Biden has done throughout his career, kind of points to that. So I can hear you fine. Yeah, you can hear me, but I don't think anybody could hear the video. No sound, only on Biden video. Yeah. So that's not, I don't know what's going on. It stopped and started again. It's back. Debbie, I don't know. I don't know why it's not working. I'm going to have to do something with my computer afterwards. I'm going to have to restart or something. All right, so let's talk about the NRA now.
Talk about what? You broke up for me.
The NRA.
Yes. So they made the big announcement. The New York Attorney General, I can't remember her name, and I don't really care. Mm-hmm. She made the announcement yesterday that she's got to make a national announcement that, make sure everybody's paying attention. They did all the marketing campaign for it. Big announcement today. And with all the conversation about Trump and Deutsche Bank and all that stuff, everybody assumed that it was going to come out. Something was coming out about Trump. The left, all the, the blue wave people were all excited about that stuff. So she does her press conference this morning, and right before she starts, she sends out her tweet saying what it's about. And what she has decided to do is sue the NRA. And it's under the accusations of, I think they said 4 people. It's really hard for me to pay attention to this woman. Mm-hmm. 4 people were basically, she's accusing them of profiting off the NRA when it comes to, donations or whatever. And making the accusation of that. Now, she acted like she was giving a eulogy for like her cat or something. It was so low energy. She acted like it was like, it hurts me to do this, but I need to hold people accountable. It was such an act. She's not going to get an Academy Award for it. But the biggest takeaway to me is that why not then, if you're the Attorney General of New York, why not bring charges? Right. Why are you suing and then calling for them to be, dismantled? That lets you know how much of a PR campaign that is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if they've done something illegal and you are the Attorney General of the state of New York, I mean, go after them with a criminal complaint. Don't go after them with a civil complaint. It's all it is noise, okay? If they had something, they would use it. They're still trying to go after President Trump and his foundation that they already forced him to shut down. There's nothing there. It's a nothing burger. They want to try to make everybody look bad. They want to crucify them in the public square. They want to make them appear to be guilty without actually having any criminal complaint to be able to file against them. It is transparent, completely and fully transparent. You can see through everything they do. The only thing that's scary for me, that's sad, is that you still have a large portion of the population here in America who takes this stuff and they just eat it up. They believe it. Swallow
right, just like how we were talking about earlier, that people have free will. We're not their keeper. They're going to do what they do. People can choose to be stupid or ignorant or whatever they want to be, and we can't blame them because in certain cases because of how busy their lives are. We're basically born into debt. If anybody went to college because they were told to, they have that debt they're dealing with. They're having to work at these full-time jobs. Now you throw in the kung flu into this mess. And then they have the stresses going on with that. And then seeing all the negativity, the fear, porn that happens everywhere, constantly. If you don't have the kind of time that, let's say, we do, or even just, people in the chat, people tell me all the time they might have 1 to 2 hours a day, maybe, to actually sift through all the stuff they hop on your channel, my channel, all their favorite accounts, to catch up on things because they're busy with their lives. And, more power to you. Live your life. That's the most important thing to do right now is live your life. Mm-hmm. They don't have time for that stuff, but that's what these are. These are stunts. What Weissman is doing is a stunt for today, because let's say actions come out and then whistleblowers, decide to lie, a la the Ukraine phone call, for example, about Durham. And then, of course, Schiff and Nadler are going to give them center stage. And I also find it very suspect that anytime the Democrats want to do a hearing, for the most part, something that has to do with them, like the mainstream media is going to give them screen time. They're going to show it, even Fox News. But when we have things like the hearing with Ted Cruz earlier, talking about Antifa and all that, that wasn't aired. or they cut away from it quickly. It's the spectacle. That's what we've been dealing with for the last 3 years straight, if not longer. They have a new talking point. They make a thing out of it. They always seem to be the hero, if not at least the victim. And who's the bad guy? We're the bad guys. MAGA's the bad guys. Trump's the bad guy, and anybody that he's hired or ever worked with is a bad guy. And if all else fails, just blame Russia. That's the world we live in. So that to me is where I think this is going to go. People ask us all the time, what's going to happen with Durham? Durham's going to do some actions. I mean, I fully believe that. You know, you could tell me I'm wrong, I'm ignorant, that's fine. There's going to be a counter unless somehow this ties into like Schiff, for example, because he's a part of Gang of 8. You know, he would know a lot of these things, and he knowingly that stuff. Let's just say that they pick up a Comey, a McCabe, Strzok Page type thing. You know, we're going to have whistleblowers come out and just bald-faced lie, and they're going to get center stage, and then they're going to try to set up for impeachment. And that's the world that we're going to live in. And even though I like watching chaos personally, I'll cover it, but we're going to be going down this road. You can kind of see the writing on the wall happen. Unless they just pick up everybody, we're going to be having different, like metaphorical, like missiles launched at each other from each side coming up.
Yeah. 412 and on is in the chat. He says, great show, boys. You are the best. 412, you're the best. Thanks for being here, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, his show's coming up here in an hour. I believe he's having Dilly and quite frankly on. So guys, make sure you go over there and check it out.
That's right. And then I just want to remind everybody once more to check out the show I did with TikTok last night. He's just released it today. There is the link in the chat. Also, Gino, thank you for the super chat on Cash App. He says, for Dylan on Parler, no signs of defection. You know, if somebody has made statements that they've changed their mind and it just hasn't updated on Parler yet, I think it's probably just hasn't had the opportunity to update it yet. And also, Kathy, thank you very much, Kathy, on PayPal. Appreciate you there. So dovetailing with the story about the NRA, because we're almost out of time, James O'Keefe attempted to go purchase a firearm, and he was told that the FBI had put him on the NICS background check system as a felon, so he is unable to purchase a firearm. And there's footage of it. You can see it. He said that the FBI put him on a list. He went to a bunch of different stores trying to purchase a handgun or whatever it was, and he was told that he is not legally allowed to. They have completely taken away his right to bear arms. And clearly, James O'Keefe is not a felon. He hasn't done anything wrong. This is definitely they're trampling his rights. Now, he says his constitutional right to bear arms, and somebody in the comments actually made a great point. Clarification, it's not your constitutional right to buy a firearm, it's your natural God-given right. We don't have constitutional rights, we have constitutional protections. We don't get our rights from the Constitution, they are naturally ours. The Constitution protects them. You may dismiss this as semantics, but it's important. As God is being erased, it's important to recognize the source of your rights. You don't have a Second Amendment right to bear arms. You have a natural God-given right to defend yourself as protected by the Second Amendment. And that is an excellent, valid point. I just wanted to point that out.
I totally agree with that, and I just wonder how many lists that we're all on at this point.
Yeah.
You know, they don't like us. We've probably been on lists for a long time. Just because we stand for patriotism in general, even before we even considered Trump running for office. You know, we went through all that. I'm not surprised about that with James. You know, a lot of people don't like what he does. So, of course, they would want to, you know, mess with him in a certain way. And it's not always, you know, all it takes is somebody going rogue for you to end up on a list. If they control, you know, putting people on lists, all it would take is just somebody that wasn't happy with the fact that he exposed Facebook or CNN or whoever he goes after. So I'm just not surprised.
Yeah. So, you know, just a point, guys, to maybe keep an eye on this stuff. If they start doing this to all of us, there's going to be a lot of trouble. There's going to be a lot of problems. But, you know, like we said at the beginning of the show, we are not telling anybody to sit idly by. Everyone can have a part to play. Everyone can be active in this movement. Everybody can be active in the mission to restore our country. And more than anything else, we need to make sure that President Trump is reelected in November. If you have not voted, I urge you to make sure that you vote on November 3rd. If you are a person who's never voted, okay, make sure that you're able to vote. Make sure that President Trump is elected, because if we get somebody like Joe Biden in the White House, it's over. You know, I mean, all of these investigations will go away. Any gains that we've made over the last couple of years will be erased. We will never be able to restore our country, and I shudder to think what's going to happen to each and every one of us.
100% agree. Now, I know that we're right at the end of the time. I want to do a shameless plug because we're going to be doing that special show tomorrow. Yep. Scott and I, Scott from Woke Societies, are going to be doing our second episode, Methods to Madness. I'm dropping the link to my YouTube in the chat right now. No shame in doing so. Thank you to everybody that's been spreading it out. We've already got 15,000 subscribers and over 30,000 views of one episode. You guys are awesome. Hope you guys enjoy the conversation type thing that we're doing. I'll have the information out on my Twitter tomorrow. But yeah, Red Pill, is there anything that you need to plug over the weekend? I think you've already said what you're doing.
Yeah, obviously make sure that you're there tonight at 6 p.m. for another edition of Red Pill News. On Friday, Tommy G is going to be joining me. And then on Saturday, Rachel Ferris is going to be joining me. So tune in 10 p.m. Friday night, tune in 9 p.m. Saturday night, and then an hour early, 6 p.m. on Sunday night for Methods, myself, and Zach McElroy, the Facebook whistleblower. So 2 weeks in a row of Facebook whistleblowers on Comfy Sunday. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. If you haven't yet, leave a like on your way out the door. Don't forget to share it on your favorite social media platform. Methods, as always, thank you for being here with me. I love you all. Couldn't do it without you. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.